Really is sort of, he's at peace. He's at peace that his dad is not in his life. And, that's what I hope for all of my kids. And I think they're all getting there.
The Sister Wives universe is truly ablaze right now with yet another round of explosive drama. And once again, Meri Brown is squarely in the spotlight, refusing to stay quiet or back down. Proving that even after more than a decade on our screens, she's still capable of shocking fans with her boldness, honesty, and defiance. It all started with what seemed like a simple but striking Instagram post-a-video with a raw, personal caption that quickly spiraled into a full-on public standoff with her former husband, Kody Brown, reigniting old wounds that never really healed and sending social media into a frenzy of support, condemnation, and endless speculation about where the Brown family can possibly go from here. According to multiple reports and rampant fan theories, Kody privately demanded that Meri take down the post, deeming it too revealing, too provocative, perhaps simply too truthful for the carefully curated family image he's tried to maintain for years. But Meri, well, she didn't just say no. She delivered a scathing, rousing, and deeply personal message that has been widely praised as empowering, long overdue, and frankly, badass. If anyone thought the Sister Wives saga had settled down after the much-publicized breakups and the endless debates over Coyote Pass, this moment proved them wrong in the most dramatic fashion imaginable, throwing gasoline on embers that were barely smoldering and reigniting bitter debates that go back years. Fans, of course, instantly remembered that the Brown family has been fighting for ages about who deserves what from that valuable Coyote Pass land in Arizona land that was supposed to be the utopian base of their plural dream, but turned into a symbol of everything broken and bitter between them. Meri had famously revealed before that Kody told her she didn't merit an equal share because she only had one child, Leon, compared to Christine and Janelle, who had multiple kids, each a breathtakingly cruel logic that fans immediately called sexist, dismissive, and deeply insulting, with some even calling it financial abuse, dressed up as patriarchal reasoning. That old wound was back in full view now, as Meri's new post signaled she was done being silent and done pretending. In her Instagram video, she looked calm, collected, but her words cut like a knife. The caption read, less like a throwaway thought and more like a manifesto. She wasn't demanding perfection. She wasn't saying anyone owed her anything, but she insisted that if someone was genuinely interested, they should show up with intention and demonstrate they truly valued her. She went on to say she had something to offer, that when she felt seen, she would be fully present. And it was that combination of vulnerability and defiance that stopped people in their tracks. The kicker line was pure poetry for fans hungry for accountability. When the right one comes along, it will feel like peace. There will be laughter, not wondering, comfort, not confusion, depth, not games. That single moment made thousands of fans flutter comments, praising her strength, her clarity, her hard-won wisdom. With one writing, "You're freaking awesome," Meri Brown, and another adding, "I love how you've come into who you are." The support wasn't merely positive why, it was practically euphoric. We've people sharing their own stories of leaving toxic relationships and refusing to accept less than they deserved. But of course it wasn't all sunshine and roses. Some viewers also predicted she would get hate for it, that people would call her dramatic or attention-seeking or accuse her of stirring the pot for reality TV relevance. But even those critical voices often admitted begrudging respect for the raw honesty she delivered. And make no mistake, this wasn't just any old spat for the Brown family. It was the latest chapter in a decade-plus saga that has made Sister Wives one of TLC's most bizarrely enduring hits. A window into a polygamist family trying and failing to keep the fantasy alive in the modern world. Since its 2010 debut, Sister Wives has been a train wreck. People couldn't stop watching, with Meri's storyline in particular becoming a lightning rod for debate. She was the first and only legal wife for years, the woman who supported Kody, marrying others, who had her own highly public heartbreak with the catfishing scandal that nearly destroyed her sense of trust and self-worth in front of millions of viewers. Fans have literally watched her grow up on screen from the early days of optimism about building one big, happy, plural family to the raw disillusionment of seeing that dream crumble as Kody's favoritism toward Robyn grew so glaring that even the other wives couldn't keep ignoring it. That favoritism became the family's worst-kept secret, with Christine and Janelle eventually leaving Kody altogether, blowing up the entire premise of the show and forcing everyone to pick sides. But Mary's path was always complicated. She and Kody legally divorced so he could adopt Robyn's kids, but stayed spiritually married in name. Though fans saw over and over how he rejected her emotionally, refusing intimacy, friendship, even basic kindness at times, while she clung to hope, sometimes heartbreakingly so. Which is why this new social media moment felt like such a breakthrough for viewers who have watched her settle for so long. It was Mary saying enough. But that's not the only bomb she's dropped lately. In the season 19 1-in-1 special, with host Sukanya Krishnan, Mary also finally shut down one of the most persistent fan rumors that she introduced Robyn to Kody in the first place. For years, people blamed her for bringing in the fourth wife who ruined everything, but Mary was unequivocal. "I didn't introduce Robyn to Kody," she told Suki, her voice calm but firm, shutting down that entire Twitter-fueled conspiracy in seconds. Suki even pressed her, sounding surprised, but Mary didn't flinch. She explained it was just not true, asking viewers to please stop repeating that lie. It was a low-key mic drop that barely got the attention it deserved at the time, but completely rewrote the blame game that had haunted her for a decade. Even so, the rest of her interview was anything but a standard airing of grievances, while Christine and Janelle used their segments to torch Kody for selfishness, controlling behavior, hypocrisy, and failing as a husband. Mary's tone was different, almost shockingly so. She refused to join in the Kody-bashing pylon instead, offering moments of genuine warmth and even nostalgia, saying she wouldn't complain about travel arrangements like Christine did, and acknowledging that while Kody put himself first sometimes, he also put others first at times too, just like everyone does. That refusal to make him into a monster led to endless fan debates about whether she still has lingering feelings for him, whether she's just too nice, or whether she's playing the long game by refusing to burn bridges that might one day be rebuilt. And yet, despite all that complicated emotional landscape, it was her Instagram post that made clear she was not going back to the way things were. She wasn't chasing, begging, or settling anymore. The support for her was intense and personal, with women and men sharing their own stories of leaving one-sided relationships, refusing to be breadcrumbs, and vowing to hold out for respect, intention, and real partnership. Some comments practically cheered her on like a warrior queen. "Keep those standards high. You deserve that and more." While others warned that the backlash from polygamy traditionalists would be vicious. Meanwhile, Kody has stayed silent, publicly, as he often does in the face of criticism. But anyone who's watched the show knows the man is famously thin-skinned and will likely explode about it on camera later, turning even this private spat into new show content. Because that's the thing about Sister Wives. Nothing stays private forever. No fight dies out. Everything becomes another chapter in the endless drama. And if Mary's latest moves are any sign, she's not planning to go quietly anymore. She seems determined to own her voice, her story, and her future, even if it means tearing down the entire carefully crafted lie of the Brown family's unity in the process. And fans.
They're
Yeah,
also
so I
learning.
wasn't supposed to fall in love?
I don't know. I think the tenet was to love everybody equally.
Try that.
It was a moment that revealed Mary Brown's far more nuanced and perhaps even forgiving side. A testament to how layered her feelings for Kody still are despite everything they've been through. And as she sat there recounting the early days of their marriage, you could see her entire body relax, her expressions soften, and her eyes light up with a warmth that surprised even the interviewer. because she spoke so fondly of how shy she used to be and how Kody's confident, outgoing energy had captivated her completely. Laughing as she remembered how he used to wink at her in that boyish way that was just so cute, how she would watch him hold court in a room, chatting with everyone, drawn to the charisma and spark he exuded. And for a brief second, it was as if they were both transported back to a time before everything got so messy and broken up. But that wistful glow didn't last long, because when Suki asked her point-blank when was the last time she'd felt that special connection from Kody, Mary's smile fell away, replaced by a weary sigh and the raw honesty of her simple answer. It's been a while. And that pause spoke volumes. The silence practically screaming all the things left unsaid, all the heartbreak still lingering. And it's precisely these moments of unfiltered vulnerability that keep fans glued to their screens, torn between wanting to see Mary break free and cheering for the flickering possibility that maybe there's something left worth saving. And whether she's still in love with him or simply wrestling with decades of shared memories and hopes that stubbornly refuse to die. One thing is absolutely clear. Her story is far from over, and viewers are invested in every raw, messy step of the journey, wondering if this newfound confidence will propel her toward a truly independent future beyond the suffocating shadow of the Brown dynasty, or if the emotional undertow of their shared history will keep pulling her back into old patterns. Because if Sister Wives has taught us anything, it's that the drama is never really over. And just when you think there are no twists left, another layer peels away, leaving fans stunned and emotional all over again, which was exactly what happened on that roller coaster season 19 Talal, when Kody made a confession nobody saw coming, admitting through tight lips that out of all the chaos and confusion of his plural marriages, the only two people he ever felt genuinely safe with were Mary and Robin. An admission rooted in a deeply private experience from his college years that he said he'd shared only with them, and you could see something shift as he remembered how emotionally close he and Mary had once been. How she had been his sanctuary in a way he hadn't fully acknowledged in years, with Kody even conceding, in a rare, disarmingly honest moment, that he was wrong to ever claim he hadn't loved her, admitting he'd simply let that love fall away, saying almost helplessly, just kinda grew out of it, I guess. And when Suki relayed that admission to Mary, her reaction was subtle yet powerful, calling it interesting and nice, that he remembered trusting her so deeply, and you could see it in her eyes that those memories still carried weight, that for all the betrayal and rejection, there was a time when they were truly each other's safe haven, a truth that explains why, unlike Christine and Janelle, Mary rarely joins in the chorus of condemnation against Kody, holding tight to the memory of that special, singular bond they once shared before everything fell apart. And fans know all too well that Mary has endured more than her share of heartbreak. From being the first and only legal wife, the one who paved the way for the family's plural dream, to being sidelined, ignored, and ultimately emotionally discarded. Yet, somehow for years, she remained quiet, absorbing the pain in dignified silence, but that silence is finally cracking. Because the same woman who once sat almost invisible on the reunion couch while Kody rewrote their history showed up this year with a radically new sense of self. And fans could not be prouder, especially when one of the most talked about moments of the Talal had Mary directly addressing the persistent, often cruel rumors about her sexuality, dismissing the online speculation that she was asexual simply because she and Kody hadn't been intimate in years, laughing as she recalled a friend joking about buying her protection in case anything finally happened, quipping, "Nothing's happening and nothing needs to." While beside her, Janelle joined in to back her up, explaining with her signature dry humor that just because they didn't want to participate in what she called assembly line kissing with Kody didn't mean they were frigid or uninterested in sex, with Mary emphatically agreeing, saying, "I promise you, I'm not asexual." But she didn't stop there, because in one of the rawest, most emotional reveals of the entire special, Mary allowed the real reason for their lack of intimacy to come out, crying openly as she admitted that it wasn't her who pulled away, but Kody, who withdrew affection and refused to meet her halfway, who chose over and over not to nurture their connection while she kept hoping and waiting for a romance that never came, refusing to let the lie stand that it was mutual disinterest, revealing with heartbreaking clarity that her need for love and intimacy had never died. Only his willingness to give it had. And it was in that moment that Mary fully reclaimed her narrative, refusing to let her story be defined by what she lacked or what she wasn't getting from Kody. Instead, telling the truth in her own words, and on her own terms, an act of raw, painful, but undeniably powerful honesty that resonated with viewers on a profound level, making them root for her all over again, not just as a reality TV character, but as a woman finally finding her voice.
He would say things in front of me all the time. In fact, he told me that when we were courting, he actually let me know
This isn't just the story of a plural wife fading from view or a discarded spouse waiting for scraps of attention. It's the unapologetic evolution of Mary Brown from someone who used to tiptoe around Kody's moods to a woman fully realizing that her voice matters, her desires are valid, and her worth isn't contingent on someone else deciding to see her. For years, she waited for Kody to notice her again, to feel that special spark she once saw in his winking, boyish charm. To go back to the days when just hearing him talk across the room sent shivers of excitement through her, when his confidence balanced her shyness and they felt like partners in the truest sense. She clung to those memories even as the man she loved went on television to tell the world he didn't consider himself married to her anymore, leaving her in a cruel, emotional limbo that viewers watched play out with increasing heartbreak over the years. But the season 19 tell-all marked a seismic shift. Gone was the Mary who meekly avoided conflict or waited for Janelle or Christine to stand up for her. Instead, she arrived calm, clear-eyed, and devastatingly honest. She admitted what fans already saw: she held on too long. She waited for a miracle that never came, but she's not waiting anymore. Her quiet confidence wasn't rage, but something stronger, a steely refusal to diminish herself any longer. She doesn't need Kody's validation, doesn't need him to say she's enough, because she knows it herself. Even the name of her business, Worthy Up, rang like a personal declaration. A promise she's keeping to herself in the most poetic way possible, for the first time in years. She's putting herself first. For longtime viewers, it's a riveting transformation from the legal wife who formed the foundation of the Brown family's public dream of polygamist unity to the woman who spent season after season marginalized and emotionally starved. She's now emerging not as a footnote in Kody's saga, but as the author of her own. And then there's Christine Brown, whose spiritual marriage to Kody lasted 27 long, painful years of slow motion heartbreak. From the moment Robin entered the family, Christine noticed the shift, not just in time or resources, but in Kody's entire attitude toward her. It wasn't merely fighting for equal time, it was watching herself be erased, her needs sidelined, her voice dismissed. At the season 19 tell-all, she didn't mince words. Their physical intimacy had turned into a transactional obligation, something they both just used, she said with brutal clarity. She admitted she tried, persisted, hoped. But when the well of emotional connection ran dry, she found the courage to walk away. Thank God she did, fans say, because they watched in real time as Christine transformed from a woman starved for affection to someone loved loudly and without hesitation. Her love story with David Woolley felt like it rocketed from dating app messages to engagement in record time. But for Christine, after decades of waiting, there was no sense in delaying happiness. Their October 2023 wedding, filmed for a TLC special, looked and felt like the payoff of a long overdue fairy tale. She beamed with unselfconscious joy, embracing David's open adoration with a kind of glow viewers said they had never seen before. Watching him look at her during their wedding montage and bluntly say, "You were starved for attention," struck everyone because it was so painfully, beautifully true. Christine had spent years fighting for Kody to even look her way. Now, she had a husband who made her the center of his world. Even her kids noticed the difference. With mixed reactions captured on cameras, some offering shy smiles, others looking uncomfortably at their mother. New openness with PDA, but that contrast spoke volumes about the old family dynamic versus this new, freer one. Christine had spent years policing her own desire for touch and closeness. Now she didn't have to. She could just be herself, a woman loved for exactly who she was. And nothing hit harder than her daughter Isabel's candid comment that her mom always wanted more affection from Kody, but was finally getting it now without apology. It was the sort of moment that made even the audience tear up, recognizing that rare, precious thing when someone you love finally gets what they always deserved. Even Kody couldn't entirely deny it. When Talal host Suki Krishnan replayed scenes of Christine and David kissing and asked Kody how it felt to see, his response shocked everyone with its grudging honesty. "I'm pretty impressed with her ability to manifest." It's really what Christine always wanted. This from the same man who used to blame her for the family's collapse, now admitting she built the life she truly wanted. Maybe that's growth. Or maybe it's just Kody finally seeing what was always obvious to the audience. Christine didn't leave to chase attention, she left to find love. Yet behind all this emotional turmoil lurked a practical, but equally toxic source of conflict: money. Supporting 18 kids and maintaining 4 households was always financially precarious, with public records showing bankruptcy filings for Kody and Mary in 2005. For Christine in 2010, and plenty of other debts. Along the way, when they moved to Flagstaff in 2018, it was supposed to be a fresh start, buying $820,000 worth of Coyote Pass land to build new homes and finally realize their dream of a shared family property. Instead, it became a monument to dysfunction. Years of delays, mounting debt, and endless arguments over who deserved what share. At the season 19 tell-all, Kody even blamed Janelle for the family's financial mess, suggesting she controlled the money and made the wrong decisions. But she refused to accept that narrative, coolly pointing out that she never made spending decisions but only did the bookkeeping. She called Kody out for lavish spending on Robin while the rest of the family scrambled. And fans watching couldn't help but remember the show's many scenes of them fighting over budgets, car purchases, and building plans. Even their daughter Maddie Brush confirmed it on a podcast, saying bluntly they were absolutely poor before the show. And that while Kody made decent money, it evaporated supporting so many kids. Yet, in an ironic twist, they recently sold part of the infamous Coyote Pass land for $1.5 million, nearly doubling their investment and providing a much-needed cash infusion. The proceeds will be divided among Kody, Robin, Janelle, and Mary, but not Christine, who signed away her share for a payout when she left in 2021, choosing financial independence over staying tangled in the family's messy business. She's since made it clear she doesn't regret a single dime she walked away from. And that's the real heart of this story for both Mary and Christine. It was never just about property lines or TLC paychecks or even Kody Brown himself. It was about reclaiming themselves, about stepping out of his shadow, about realizing that being a wife in a plural family didn't have to mean accepting crumbs of affection or being defined by someone else's choices. Season 19 wasn't a season about loss. It was about freedom. It showed these women leaving the one big Brown family home in favor of building smaller, truer ones of their own homes, defined by peace, purpose, and authenticity. It showed that no matter how messy the split, no matter how long it took, it is always possible to choose yourself. And for viewers who've been along for the ride since the first episode aired back in 2010, who've watched the smiles, the tears, the betrayals, the catfishing scandal, the tense family meetings, and the endless property debates, this season felt more real, more raw, and somehow more satisfying than any before. Because at the end of it all, this isn't just a reality show about polygamy falling apart. It's about women finding the courage to say, enough, I deserve more, I am enough. And whether you're Team Mary, Team Christine, Team Janelle, or even Team None, dash of dash, them dash, just dash, please dash, end dash the dash drama, you can't help but admit that watching these women find their voices is exactly what keeps us all coming back for more.